Alright guys, so volume of a triangular prism. What we do in here is we take the area of that triangle, which is 1/2 the base right here, times the height of that triangle right here. We take the area of that triangle and then we multiply it by the height of the prism. Okay, so what you got to take into consideration here on the volume for triangular prisms is that you're going to have a height for the triangle that you use to find the area of that triangle, and then you take that area from that triangle, multiply it by the height of the prism to get the volume. So we'll just kind of work backwards once we take our given information and solve for x. So if you look over here, the volume of a triangular prism is 1/2 the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle times the height of the prism. So again, 1/2 times the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle times the height of the prism. We do all that and that gives us our volume. So if you look here, we give you a volume of 140 cubic centimeters. Base of the triangle 5 centimeters, height of the triangle 4 centimeters. Then we're looking for the height of that prism, and we have this expression that represents that of x plus 3 centimeters. So right here you'll see that we've plugged everything in. 140 for the volume, 1/2 is part of the formula, 5 is the base of the triangle, 4 is the height of the triangle, x plus 3 is a representation for the height of the prism. So if you look at my side notes, I say to first multiply the two dimensions that you already know, then multiply that value by 1/2 to get rid of the fraction, and then we solve for x. So if you look down here, this equation that we had, kind of long, ugly, a lot of numbers, turned into a more simple equation. The 140 is still the volume, but where did the 10 come from? Let's talk about that. If we look at 1/2 times 5 times 4, we can figure out real quick where the 10 came from. Let's do 5 times 4. 5 times 4 gives me 20. Then if I multiply 20 by 1/2, that gives me 10 because half of 20 is 10. And so that's where that 10 came from. Again, 5 times 4 is 20, and then half of 20 is 10. And so now we've got this equation, 140 equals 10 times x plus 3. Well, to undo the multiplication between the 10 and the x plus 3, we can just divide both sides by 10. So right here, 140 divided by 10 gave me 14. Over here, I divided all this by 10, so the 10's canceled, and it just left me with x plus 3. So again, all I did here for this equation is multiply the 140, divide that by 10. That gave me 14. And then I divided this side by 10 to get x plus 3. Okay? So again, 140 divided by 10, 14. 10 times x plus 3 divided by 10 gives me x plus 3. And so then we just solve for x right here to undo that addition. We subtract 3 from both sides. 14 minus 3 gives me 11. Over here, 3 minus 3 canceled, gave me x. So again, we're not finished. We just found the value of x. In geometry, we always will plug it back in to find the value of the missing dimension. So we're looking for the height here, which is represented by x plus 3. But again, we now know the value of x. So to get the height, which is x plus 3, we substitute 11 for x. 11 plus 3 is 14. And so 14 is the height of this prism. If you wanted to check, the area of this triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. Well, again, 5 times 4 is 20. Half of that is 10. And then if we multiply that 10 by the actual height, 14, of that prism, it gives us 140 cubic centimeters for the volume. Hope this helps.